Hey everyone, welcome back. I am excited to share this video with you where I am sharing my backyard transformation. A little sneak peek behind me, but let's get to it and I'll show you what it looked like before and current day, which you can see a little bit behind me. All right, keep watching. This is our yard, and then we got to put a fence to divide it from that house and ours. So here I am trying to slow down the footage because I was taking it pretty quickly, but this is what the backyard looked like when we initially saw the house, when we already had considered purchasing the house. It was obviously the middle of winter, so there was no grass, but you could also see into my neighbor's backyard and home. There was no fence at that point in time, and the way that the yard was set up, the yard literally sloped into their property. So that's one of the things right off the bat that we knew we had to do. We had to close off the yard, especially where you see those cars that needed to be closed off. The back needed to be closed off. We had a dog, or have a dog, he's still around, and we have children. So in order to get this backyard fully operational, we needed to clean it up, take out all of that rubble that you see there, and level out the ground. But in order to do that, well, we had to bring a landscaper who had to scoop everything up and then level out the ground and put a retaining wall. So they did that, and I would say this did not take long at all. They come in with these machines, they turn up the soil, and they clean out in 1, 2, 3. Like, that really was done all in a day. Maybe the retaining wall took about 2 days. I can't remember too well. That was a few years ago. They did it in wood. As new homeowners, this was all new to me, and the reason we had to put the retaining wall was so that we can build the fence. If we would have done it the way it was, the fence eventually would have given out because obviously the yard sloped downward. So here you see that it was seeded, and our neighbor next door was amazing. He helped us put up that fence. It was a huge priority for us because we had the dog and kids that we wanted them to enjoy. And of course we had to get Julian a pool so that he could have some fun out there. But as you can see, look at the way it already started to give shape to the yard. This was back when we were setting up the sprinkler system, obviously for the grass, but the kids were loving it. That's Julian and his best friend. I cannot believe how little he looks here. He probably was about 6 years old. Right before we celebrated his 7th birthday. This is the way the back of the house looked, and once we got the pergola and the furniture, it really started to take shape. Now, you all know that back in 2020 we had a lot of time in our hands, and we had decided to get a pool. You guys know exactly why we had a lot of time in our hands. We were home, and I am so happy that we invested in this pool. At that point in time, they were going so fast, and they were selling them like really expensive at that point in time. You already know why, but I am so glad we spent the entire summer in this backyard, and every summer since then. Adults enjoyed this pool, children enjoyed this pool. It really was such a great purchase. I do not regret it at all. As time went on, my husband always had another project he wanted to embark on, and this time was extending our pavers. So he had hired the same landscapers who actually put in our retaining wall to come back and extend the pavers so that we had more of an entertaining space when people came over. We tried to match it as close as possible. You can see that there's a shade difference because the pavers that were on the left were older. But guys, fast forward to 2024. We got rid of our above ground pool. As I had mentioned in a previous video, my husband and I at one point had considered selling the house, but after deciding to stay, we decided to actually make this yard exactly what we had dreamed of it to be. And we were ready to move into the process of putting an in-ground pool. So you are seeing the space bare after we took it out. That pool served us with many beautiful memories, but we were ready to take our yard to the next level. I want to take you around the yard so you could get a good idea of what it looked like prior. You can see the back of the house with the pergola. By the way, that table that you see, that picnic table, Ray built it himself. Yes, you know he's a busy bee, so he actually built that bench himself. He wanted a nice little picnic table. We added an additional retaining wall on that side of the fence, if you can see that really quick, so that the soil would not push over the fence that we share with the neighbor. So here we are taking out the fence. I say we, but really the people who were building the pool took out the fence so that they can fit their equipment. Guys, since we started this project, my whole entire yard and front yard was in shambles because they had to bring in all this equipment and tear everything up. I cannot tell you that what I thought in my head would never have prepared me for what was actually going to happen. And this guy right here, who you see talking, is Pete himself. He is the owner of Gus Pools. And I have to tell you right off the bat, hands down, the best customer service ever. When I tell you that all of his suggestions, we listened to, all of the recommendations of the workers that he had given us, we used, and we have zero complaints of how everything turned out after. But I'm going to let you judge that for yourself. I just wanted to let you know that they were amazing. And if you are in the New York area, I will link their information below because that's how much I love them. So this is day one, the digging process. I want to walk you through also what Pete was saying when we were pointing down to the pavers. He was telling us that we would need to level out those pavers, including the ones that we had extended a few years prior. Remember at the beginning of the video, I told you when we first bought this house, the yard sloped downwards. Well, it looks like the pavers that were put in place prior to the ones that we extended, they weren't level either, or they might have settled over time. So the solution to that was ripping out our current pavers to then put them back in. But that was a whole extra expense I was not expecting. Guys, check out this audio. Where the heck is the mailbox?
It was buried.
No way.
Huh?
Metal? Is that metal?
Yeah.
Oh, look at the mailbox right there. That is insane. How there was a mailbox in the dirt underneath all of that is beyond me. But anyway, good thing they were digging it up. Also, I didn't mention it before, but I want you to note where I had the fire pit before the entire transformation, because you'll see later on that we will move it. I wasn't intending to do that, but we ended up moving it anyway. These are the guys bringing in the walls of the pool. These guys worked so hard and tirelessly. It was so hot. It was June, and these guys worked so fast. They were so diligent, and they were actually really terrific. We would have our little coffee time. I made sure that there were breaks for coffee. Yes, it was hot, but they still needed some coffee. And I also brought them ice waters and all of the things. But they worked so fast that I couldn't believe how quickly they put all of this together. No one believed me when I said that this pool was up and running in a week. When I say up and running, that meant that the walls were built, the cement was poured, and the lining was in. Everything else took a little bit more time, but these guys were in and out in 1 week. God bless them. My yard is toe up. Poured cement today. So this is a close-up view of how the process was going. I wanted to talk about the length of time everything took. Now, keeping in mind that I live in Yonkers, New York, apparently everything is a lot slower. If you could believe it, we started the process early February in 2024. Now, a few things I will say is that we wanted to start this process back in 2020 when everything was going down. But at that point in time, we had decided to hold and just get the above ground pool. If we were serious about getting a pool, then we would reconsider. So at that point in time, I did do a little bit of research, and I came back to the same company, Gus Pools, in 2024, but not without doing research again, just comparing prices and what's included. And I will tell you that Gus Pools not only blew every other competition out the water, but again, their service was top notch. And everyone who worked alongside them They were amazing. So I just wanted to give you that in context. I live in Yonkers, New York, and in Yonkers, everything takes so long, and specifically when it comes to getting permits. So when we had solicited for the permit, I would say it was around April. And considering that they usually take longer, we got our permit approved by the end of May, hence why they started in June. Now, the reason why I share this is because if you are considering getting an in-ground pool, I don't know where you're located. It could be a lot quicker, but I want you to think about how much time you're going to need in total and think about your target date. Like, when would you want your pool done by? The other thing to consider was once the pool is in, all of this dirt needs to settle. So that means that the pavers could not go on for another 5 to 6 weeks. And our the guy who did our pavers, he would come in and sometimes just kind of stomp the ground to get it to settle a little bit more. But just keep in mind, it's going to take another 5 to 6 weeks after the pool is set up for your pavers to be installed. Now, of course, the pool was set up. Who do you think was the first person to get inside?
No, this is warmer than that.
Julian, of course. So our pool is actually heated. At this point in time, it wasn't completely warm, but I will say this, we have solar panels. So when we were deciding between gas or an electric heater, it made more sense for us to get an electric heater. I will also say that on the coldest days, it will still not warm up to the temperature that is set. So I just thought that you would want to keep that in mind as well. The gas pool heater will definitely keep it warmer, but it is quite an expense and we rather just use the electric. This way it's not extra on our bill. It does warm up nicely in the summer, but to our experience recently, it was a little bit chilly outside and it did not reach the temperature that we set at 90 degrees. So just another thing to keep in mind. Okay, now we've reached the part regarding the pavers. And honestly, this is where it starts to get fun because we get to choose the materials. And since we already had to wait those 5 to 6 weeks, we took a lot of time trying to decide what we wanted to be the look of the pool. Now, the pavers that I told you we were ripping out from where they originally were to level out the grounds, as you can see, they were already ripped out. We were going to put them back. It was a way that we decided to be a little bit more cost effective. But when I started to see them laying down these pavers and how he was setting up the fire pit, I was falling instantly in love with the pavers. And what do you think happened, guys? What do you think happened? Mind you, this was his vision. I did not think of moving my fire pit to the corner. And as you can see where it was placed earlier in the video, I was thinking we were just going to set it back there. But he created this beautiful design, and that is what you want. You want an expert to come in, look at your space and say, you know what would really look nice here? This. And all of this really kind of came to life through his vision. I showed him things that I did like. I gave him some inspo pics, and he really took the lead on what I liked, and he adapted it to our space. So another recommendation I would make is get someone who's knowledgeable and has done this work over and over again, that he knows automatically or she knows automatically what would look good. Now, these pavers, we did not let go to waste. We were definitely not going to just throw them out. I posted it on Facebook and I actually sold it, just like my previous video for the kitchen transformation where we took out our kitchen cabinets. I placed it on Facebook Market and it sold. The same thing I did with the pavers. Guys, people will buy things that you post because they will need it. And I had one guy come with a truck, like he had to run from Home Depot. He came in, loaded up the truck. He came in 2 trips. He paid me the money, and all of that money went right back to whatever we were doing. Now, because things got a little bit fancier, the bill kept on adding up. I did not expect to extend the pavers, but honestly, my frame of mind here, as well as my husband, was you want to do things, do it right the first time. That's why we also decided to put in the waterfall. I knew that the waterfall was a feature that I wanted. The initial plan was just to put in the pipe for the waterfall so that we could come back to it at another time and we can build it out if we wanted to. But guys, this man was just so amazing that because we gave him a lot of work, he really did work with me in price, and we ended up putting the waterfall at the same time as everything else. If you're in the New York area, like I said, I am going to put everyone's information down below. I love good customer service, and when someone does outstanding work, I like to acknowledge and refer. I'm not sponsored by any of this. I am sharing my recommendations. I am sharing how happy I am with everyone who worked on this project. And honestly, I would not recommend someone that I did not stand behind. So I will leave all of their information below. The guy from my Pavers was Eddie. And this is my landscaper, Miguel, another great find who was recommended by Eddie. And he is still our landscaper today. I will tell you that another great thing to look out for when you are finding someone to do things to your home is that they also care for it as if it were their own space. And guys, I am absolutely obsessed with the pavers. This is why I extended it. Now you guys can see why I didn't put my old pavers back. And boy, did it make such a difference, because once we put everything in, the yard looked so much bigger. I can't even understand how that happens because the yard is the same size. As you can see, we did not change the dimensions of the yard. It is the same size. Ray always has to do something, and what he decided to do was paint the pergola. So I don't know if you saw in the earlier part of this video, the pergola was a brown color. We had bought it from Amazon. I am going to link everything below. But because the bullnose was like this deep dark gray or black, I would say, we wanted everything to tie in together. Also, a few years back, we had done our windows, and the trim of the windows upstairs is also black on the outside. We painted our doors black on the outside. So this was just making everything tie in nicely. But yeah, Ray always has to play a part, and I am so thankful that he is so diligent in taking care of these things. Ray has a whole full-time job, 9 to 5, and he will come home. He'll do whatever project he is tackling, and sometimes that could be till midnight, and he will get it done. Another fun part was now getting things that would look great within the yard. I bought 4 of these chairs. Ray is now telling me that we only need 2. Leave in the comments below if you think I should stick to 4 or just leave the 2. He thinks it takes up a lot of space, but I think that we should give people ample space to lounge around because we do host a lot. I absolutely love the chairs, and I got some extra cushions, but curious to know your thoughts. Now, Miguel had suggested that we get sod for the grass, and that's exactly what we did. And then we seeded the rest. The reason why we sped this up was because it was going to take time for the grass to come up. And my daughter was getting married in September, and we wanted the space to look presentable. And we probably wouldn't have had the grass otherwise by the time it was her wedding. So this was the only footage I have from last year when I had completed everything. You can see the 4 chairs. I had to order new cushions for our seats. But just to give you a quick view of what everything looked like. But yeah, I just wanted to show you everything in detail from last year. For the plants, Miguel had suggested perennials, which obviously was a great choice because we don't have to worry about continuing to plant every single year new plants. Now here's a quick flashback of the before and after. Right, guys, this is present day. The lawn has fully grown in. This is our equipment for the pool. Here are the pavers, the pergola in black. I love that we did like little sections of flowers, like a little. Here are my rose bushes. Look at how gorgeous they're looking. We did these pine trees. I think they're called pine trees, which I wasn't completely like, I didn't want them really, but they look nice. I'm not mad at them. Here is the fire pit, which I absolutely love. So we have put rocks down here. I love the way he framed it and also did like a little step. So let me take you around. Okay, so here's another section. So we had thought maybe to put the pavers all the way to the end, but then I loved that we added this section. So this season, the hydrangeas still have not flourished yet. Like they're still in the process. And these also, this looks like one of those hydrangea trees. It had like more of a coney look. I don't know what they're called, but I'll find out for you. We put in some torches. That's our storage box. Let's take you around. Hold on. So let's here focus on the pergola. So we painted the pergola black, and then I had to get new cushions because the ones that we had before were absolutely terrible. Had a lot of like black stains, like I think from mold maybe. So I have to consider getting a cover because I do not want that happening to this. But we got a new rug, which I absolutely love. It's blue and cream. I could link that as well. The 4 chairs that I got from Amazon, which I love. Let's walk around here. And we have some more pine trees, hydrangeas. I love hydrangeas, guys. And here is the back of the pool. And then another corner where we have more plants, which I absolutely love as well. Don't mind the fences. I actually have to power wash them hopefully this weekend now that we're going to start entertaining more. We actually got a fence because, you know, when these boys play basketball, it kept on going over the fence to our neighbor, and we just kept feeling bad that we had to ask for the ball. So when you set this up, it comes really high so that, you know, we prevent the ball from bouncing over. So there's that. I'm obsessed with the waterfall feature. Right now the sun has not completely gone down yet, so you can't really see there. The lights are going to come on probably in another few minutes, but just wanted to give you an idea of what this looked like. We just bought this, which I got on sale. You would not believe how much I paid for it. It was like, I don't know if it was just that it was a blessing. That's all I could describe it as, a blessing, because we went on to check how much it is now, and it's like $350, where we paid like $79 for it, if you could believe it. But this is the view, guys. Oh, another feature that I love that we put in were these 2 lights, which right now, again, you can't see it glow, but you could pretty much change those lights to blue, red, white. And when it gets dark at night, it like lights up the entire pool. And we also put lights underneath the waterfall over there, which I'm absolutely obsessed with as well. This is it, guys. Absolutely would love to know what you think of this transformation. I think that I would never in a million years have thought about this myself. That's the great thing about getting people who know what they're doing and know a lot about landscaping and know about what looks good. The guy who did my pavers, he was absolutely amazing. Big props to Eddie. Big props to Pete and Gus Pools, who did this amazing transformation of my yard. They were the ones who suggested, like, everyone who participated in this yard was absolutely amazing. Miguel, who does our landscaping. And like I said, once you get someone who you trust and they make these recommendations, like I, for one, would have never thought this was possible in my yard. And to me, the yard looks so much bigger than I could ever have imagined. From day one when we first bought this house, never realized its full potential. Finally, the lights came on. Absolutely love the touch that the lights give the trees. We have lights here on the waterfall. While we are completely thrilled with our space, there is a little bit more that we want to do, and we will be bringing you along for that ride. It might not be this year. It all depends. Currently, I'm not working, so we have to take it easy. But I do want to add some more decorative pieces, some cushions, some planters. You can see a little bit better the pool lights, which as it gets darker, it lights up the pool even more. As you know, I am putting a lot of transformation videos out. So if you haven't already, please check out the others that I have posted. And as we keep on upgrading and improving our space, we love to bring you on for the ride. So have a blessed one, everyone. And if you have any comments below about how you would decorate the space, I would love to hear them. I always am interested to know what you guys think and what you would do differently. Have a blessed one, everyone.